Pounces through ad wall.
Oh heck! She's pouncing through that ad wall. Just put that ad wall up. Exhausting. Right then, let's get ready to rumbaba. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Stone Monkey Radio. Share some cards. We're just going to share some cards. Some nice time, some nice cards. Joining me on this good fine evening is the lovely Keladry Goodall.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am tired. I am sore in places I will not mention. And I am very much interested in looking at your card collection. Definitely.
We're going to have a look at some cards. Right, give me a second. I will rotate the camera. Rotating. Rotating. It's not that I've only got one camera. It is that I've only got one camera.
Sure.
Shoot. Right, that's it. Stare at my crotch. And Laura's keyboard. Right. Pick a colour, any colour.
Blue.
Oh, blue.
That's my favorite magic color.
That's apparently all green.
I know, that makes me a monster, but whatever.
Yes, monsters. Monsters everywhere. Right, blue. Yeah. Up a little bit. Do up a little bit. Right. Hopefully you can see that okay.
Is that a mere hover guard?
It's an advanced hover guard.
Advanced hover guard, yes. I've got that card.
Seems like an okay card. 2/2 for 4.
2/2 for 4, but you can give it Shroud at any time.
I mean, got a couple of those.
Mm-hmm.
What series is that from? I feel like that's a more recent one.
That's Dark Steel, which is from the Mirrodin block, back around 2004, 2005.
I really like the visuals on the Mirrodin stuff.
I do too, and it introduced a lot of well, I mean, it's from the time that I actually started getting into Magic, so I have a lot of Mirrodin block cards. And it's just a bunch of weird artifact creatures.
Weird machines. We have an ancient carp. It's an adorable fishy.
It is.
2/5 for 5 feels like a lot.
It is. That's not good value.
No. Aspiring aeronaut. Human artificer. A 1/2 for 4. Again, feels like a lot.
It is. I know that in some of the cards around the Kaladesh block, being an artificer was kind of important, and having Thopters or, basic artifacts was important. But...
Wasn't there also a whole thing about CMC?
Yes.
Like having deliberately overinflated. I might be thinking of the wrong block, but I know there was one block where it was like deliberately having too much CMC.
I think that would be a different block besides Kaladesh block.
Okay. We've got a 0/2 for 1, but it is flying. That's a decent blocker to get started with. Don't recognise the symbol, but I'm guessing it's an older one because it feels like an old blue border.
It is an older one. I know the symbol, but I can't remember what the set name is.
Let me see if I can get a list of set symbols.
Oh, yeah. I have my database. I should look it up. I should use it. Hi, Future Fishy.
Hi, Future Fishy. Hi, Becky. Hi, I'm guessing Red Eye is in chat. I sort of vaguely saw that. I'm actually on a different window now, so I can't really see. Oh, and the mouse has done the thing.
Mason!
Hey, Mason.
How are you?
Hang on.
Okay, that set is Legions.
Woo.
Back from 2003, just before Mirrodin, and just before they revamped all of the borders.
Oh, we're going to see a lot of janky borders tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Where did we get to?
We just got through Avon Evangel.
So we had the Envoy. And the Fate Shifter.
Ooh. Scry of
4.
4, except you can't put them on the bottom.
Put them
Yeah,
back on any order. Yeah, that's not bad.
it's not
7
bad,
though.
especially when you have a shuffle effect. I mean, yes, it costs 7, but you know, if you're playing a control matchup, then that'll help you get what you need, especially since control decks usually have ways to shuffle up their deck.
Okay. A lot of Avens.
Yes.
Okay. Aven Surveyor. Bird Scout. 2/2 for 4. We've got double blues, so maybe good for devotion.
Maybe, but Devotion tends to like a lot of lower cost creatures with double pips. Like 1 blue or just blue would be more optimal.
Yeah. It's only a common. And again, I don't know what series that is, but got a couple of those.
It's from around the Tarkir block.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Ooh, Ravnica.
5/5 for
Yes.
6. That's not bad. It's a rare. Yay.
It is. Flying 5/5 for 6 is not bad, and shuffling it into your own library is not the worst thing in the world. Simply because it gives it some pseudo protection, and I think that the Dimir mechanic in that set was to essentially cycle based around converted mana cost. It was kind of weird. The original Ravnica block had some really weird mechanics, which I love. And I think if you combined that card with a few of those, you could just like discard specific cards to get the Sphinx back into your hand, which would be very powerful because if you try to cast Murder on it, then, you know.
But I like Murder.
It is a good card, but you do not want it targeting your Sphinx.
Unsurprisingly, I've only got one of those. Cloaked Siren. 4. 3/2 for 4. That's not... it's not great.
Well,
Flash, though.
Flash, pretty important.
And flying.
I know that's... Oh, hey! It's Caliphate. She's a new creature, a new legendary creature that the set likes, the latest set likes.
Well, I think more is good for the new set. I'm thinking about maybe trying to get a box in for every part of this set and then never buying another card again. Let's see. Crooklaw Elder. Uncommon. Nice. I'm spotting the older text here, so I'm guessing it's an older card.
It is. It's again from that Legion set.
Flying. Tap 2 untap birds you control, draw a card. Handy if you've got a lot of birds. Tap 2 untap wizards you control. Are there a lot of wizards? Perhaps there was in this set. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. That could be handy.
Yeah. I know back in Dominaria, Wizard Tribal was pretty big, and in Ravnica Allegiance, the Wandering Mystic, or whatever his name was, it was a 2/5 that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you got a bird token. That could be fun with that.
Oh.
There are definitely a lot of fun commander variants you could get if that were like your commander. Just a bunch of birds and a bunch of wizards.
So many birds. I mean, it would be nice, because I think probably commander is the only thing I could really put together with this lot, because it's lots of singles of things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just commander or just kitchen table jank varieties, you know?
Oh, there's plenty of kitchen table jank around here. Oh, nice 1 for 1. Each player reveals the top card of their library. You may put the reveal cards into their owner's graveyards. If you don't, each player draws a card.
That's interesting. So you either you draw both of those cards into everyone's hand, or you put them both in the graveyard. That's
I'm liking
it's
this
fun.
artwork.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of sexy, menacing look, and
Mm-hmm.
the
Oh,
slightly yin-yang of the shells, I guess? Probably shells.
yeah.
Deep Sea Terror. 6/6 for 6, nice.
Hmm.
But you need Threshold.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get to some actual cards with Threshold on. That was a whole thing for a while. Hey, I have a playset
Yeah.
of something.
Ooh.
Another chunky one. 6/5 for 6. Defender, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a decent wall, but the Megamorph as well.
I mean, still, it's even more expensive, and more often than not, that's just going to be a 3 mana 2/2 that for most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
At least you won't um, at least you won't, at least you'd be able to attack with the morph.
And I suppose if you'd played this face down and then found some way to dredge it out of your graveyard, maybe? Like from Return to Play Battlefield from Graveyard?
Eh,
Maybe?
maybe.
Back on that set again. Echo Tracer,
Mm-hmm.
2/2 for 3 with Morph.
That's nice. Morph is always very, very fun because one of the fun things about morph is that you can do it at instant speed,
Oh, yeah.
the turning face up.
So it's good for
And
a haha, fuck you.
exactly. And that's actually a very, very nice effect for 3 mana on a 2/2 creature.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
Yeah.
2003. Okay. They've been collecting for a while. Elusive Spellfist.
You have a prowess card.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Elusive Spellfist gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. Nice!
Prowess is essentially a one-off bonus that whenever you cast an instant or a non-creature spell during a turn, uh, a creature gets a one-turn bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to just have like 4 or 5 of them on the board, and then play a turn where you just, play a couple ops and like a shock or a bunch of really cheap spells, and all of a sudden you have an unstoppable force that kills your opponent in one go.
Fuck him up.
Mm-hmm.
Enclave Cryptologist. This is not a mechanic I've encountered on, I think, any other cards.
It was a very briefly done mechanic that I don't actually have many cards from as well. Um, I guess it was just a set in which you had a bunch of these mana sink cards, because obviously you just need to keep paying these costs over and over and over.
Mm.
But eventually being able to just tap this creature to draw a card is not bad.
For one, and then I guess, well,
Well, you need to pay 6 mana to get to that point, or 7 if you
yeah.
include the initial creature, but being able to do it on any turn which you don't have a thing.
Mm.
Besides, being able to loot at level 1 is not bad at all.
It would be nice if you could make it hexproof at some point.
Yeah, yeah, but hexproof isn't something people give lightly.
No. No. Okay, Fairy Miscreant. I'm again really liking this art.
Yeah, that's actually, it was recently reprinted in M20,
Okay.
the most recent core set.
I'm excited to get my first full. Because that's another problem with a lot of this. I've never had like core sets really.
Mm-hmm.
Not really focused on them, so I'm looking forward to getting like a box of M21 and
I'm
going.
really glad that they.
I've got a set.
Sorry. I'm really glad that they decided to bring them back because they didn't do them for like 4 or 5 years, and then Standard got really horrible, and they were just like, "Oh shit, we need to have these core sets again."
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it feels like just having something to base it all around, like a nice solid base that's will stay for a little while because it's good for what, 2 years
Uh,
or a year?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Frilled Oculus.
Ah, yes, Gate Crash.
Oh, there we go. I got it.
Hmm.
1 3 for 2. Frilled Oculus gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Um, green though, so you're gonna have to be
Yes.
playing at least 2 colours or one and a splash maybe if you really wanted that
Yeah.
+2/+2.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you're familiar with a creature card called Root Walla. It's a 2/2 for 3 in green, and you can pay a green and a white to pump it +2/+2 until end of turn, and you can only do it once per turn. And it's considered an amazing base creature. And Frilled Oculus was kind of it's a very, very good version of that because a 3/5 is almost in some ways even better than a 4/4. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. I
I'm
found
glad I
it.
got the stats right.
I was like, I'm sure I've got
um,
one of those, but from
yeah, I've got a few
M14
as
in this
well.
case.
It's a really old Magic card actually, and yeah, it's always really good, especially in like limited formats,
Mhm.
in which just having, you know, it costs mana every turn, but it's very, it's an efficient ability that you can use to, it forces your opponent to react to it.
Yeah.
Hi, Crimmy.
Hi, Grammy. Howdle of the doodle.
And Nug, of course.
Hey, nerd. It's my fault trying to do things with my extra hands that I don't really have. So I got a couple of those. Handy. Fugitive Wizard.
Oh yeah, I've got one of those.
It's a 1/1 for 1. Just a
Hmm.
nice and a whizzy. So
Again,
good for
you
all of
know,
those.
just good in Wizard tribal decks.
And they're islands, so they are in fact wizards of the coast. Thank you. I'm here all week. Glintwing Invoker. It's 3/3 for 5. You can give it +3/+3. And flying until end of turn for 8. That feels like a lot.
It is. It very much is.
It's nice
But
artwork. I'm
that's
liking
from
the fairy rings.
2003 Magic. This is a pre-Mirrodin world we're talking about here.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Looks a bit Nixie.
That is actually from Journey into Nyx. Or
Hurrah!
Born of the Gods. I can't remember which.
I recognise the stars. I'm slowly
Mhm.
learning magic stuff.
Yeah.
So got a Hunter Occupus. It's a 5/5/6. Can't attack unless defending player controls an enchantment or an enchanted permanent. Well, given like the number of enchantment creatures now, I guess that could be a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the block that it was made in, it would always be able to attack, essentially. And
Hmm.
even then, yeah, it's definitely a good, unless it's definitely a good target for your own enchantments and stuff.
That is quite the piece of art. Is that mouths? That looks like a lot of mouths.
It does look like a lot of mouths, and I am not displeased by that.
More mouths, please.
Hmm.
Jeskai, I guess.
Yes.
Sage. That is a 1/1 for 2 with prowess. And when it dies, draw a card. So nice early game, get things
Hmm.
going, but have something out.
Hmm. Yeah, Jeskai is the term for it's one of the Tarkir clans.
Mm-hmm.
The clans were the opposing color, uh, 3-color pair, uh, things. Jeskai being white, blue, and red.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Jeskai's main theme in Tarkir block was prowess.
Okay. Fascinatory. So we got a couple of those. Jessian Thief is a 1/3 for 3. Again with prowess. I'm sensing a theme right now.
Indeed.
Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Nice. Get that good card advantage.
All those thieves and rogues are really good. Like the initial card, I think Spell Scroll Thief. It's not an old card, but I think it was from the mid 2000s. I think it initially came out. I think it was one of the first cards that had when this deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and we've seen that a lot lately, and it's always an amazing mechanic, especially when you can get some form of evasion on that creature.
Nice. So if you could get all creatures to have flying, that would be good. Okay, back to this block. So Keenite Avon, flying. 2/3 for 4. And cycling. Cycling good to have.
It is.
I like my cycle lands.
The cycle lands are pretty great.
I'm a big fan of Witch's Cottage. Don't know how useful it is, but I like it.
Yeah.
Keyblade Rogue. Human Rogue. 3/2
Yay,
for 4.
Gate Crash.
It's unblockable. Nice. Enters the battlefield, return creature you control to its owner's hand. So, you know, maybe something cheap, and then you can use that for a sacrifice. Who knows?
This is actually a really good card in its set because a lot of the Dimir cards, blue-black, had a lot of insanely good enter the battlefield triggers. And, oh, hi, Thinky. Sorry, Tricky.
Hey, Tricky.
I hope Thinky is okay.
Hey, Grimmy, Peachy Peachy, and anyone I might have missed earlier. Hope you're all okay.
But anyways, in Gate Crash specifically, Dimir had a lot of very powerful rogue synergies. And there was this one card that was unblockable as long as you're it was only blockable by rogues, I think it was.
Okay. Surely that's not usually a rogue's job.
No. I think it could
Leyline
also be blocked by walls, but there weren't really many walls in the set.
I've never been a big fan of walls. It feels like waiting too long for something to happen. Leyline Phantom, again, beautiful artwork. Deals damage, when it deals combat damage, returns to its owner's hand. That gets expensive, huh?
It does.
Especially without haste. If you could haste it, maybe, but...
Yeah.
Now that's really pretty.
Ooh.
So it's as Living Law enters the battlefield, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Living Law's power and toughness are equal to the exiled creature's CMC. So yeah, one of those cards earlier where we're like, the CMC on this is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that's like one of the key Jeskai rares from is that Khans of Tarkir or Dragons of Tarkir? I can't remember.
I'm guessing probably Dragons, because I guess I probably got it out of this fat pack.
Very possible. But yeah, it's a good card. I wish I had a copy for my I'm hoping to make a bit of a Jeskai commander deck sometime.
Yeah. Lotus Path Djinn. Liking all the shiny light there. So it's a 2/3 for 4 flying prowess. Nice. Getting these good mechanics in. Lumen Grid Sentinel. Whenever an artifact comes into play under your control, you may tap target permanent.
Okay. Now this is from the original Mirrodin set in Mirrodin block. That's the little sword icon. And Lumen Grid Sentinel, I think, is the counterpart of... I think there was another card in the set whenever an artifact comes into play under your control, you can untap target permanent.
Ooh.
And that card has broken so many commander decks.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that.
But yeah, even that ability is pretty busted. Mirrodin is a busted set.
But with
Busted
such
block.
beautiful artwork.
It has amazing artwork. I don't know if you have many of the mirror cards, MYR.
I've got some mirrors, I've got some mirror artifacts.
They're very pretty.
They are. Meringue River Prowler. Can't block.
Good night, Jane's Dungeon Kitty.
No. I hope that you
feel
sleep well.
better.
Yeah, I hope you feel better too. You've been having a bad time with the snifflies. So we got a 2/1 for 3. Can't block and can't be blocked. Cast from your graveyard as long as you have control of black or green permanents. So
that's the Sultai clan from the Tarkir block.
They come from the internet. How Sultai are they?
Very, obviously. And that's black, green, and blue.
Okay. Nice. Maritime Guard, we have the Joker with a big spear, I guess. Colour not coming out super well on that, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
Maritime Guard. Ugh, Maze Glider. These are pretty.
All of the maze set of cards. There were 5 of them in Dragon's Maze. That's that symbol there. Each one gave multicolored creatures different abilities.
Okay.
With the glider obviously being one of the better ones, considering flying is one of the best abilities in the game.
Yeah.
I think the red one just gave haste, and like the green one gave trample, and the black one gave... I think
Death
the black
touch?
one gave death touch, but I'm
Makes
not
sense.
sure.
Those
The
make
white one
the most
probably
sense.
gave vigilance, but I never care about that.
Not a fan. Got a playset, so maybe good
Very
thing.
nice. Yeah. Dragon's Maze is fun.
I mean, I like the box for it. It's a pretty box.
Yeah. It is. Pretty box.
I
I have that Planeswalker that's on that art.
Yeah?
Yeah, original Ral Zarek.
That's quite a grin.
Yeah. I dislike his voicing in Magic the Gathering Arena.
I don't think I've encountered him yet.
Especially considering I have, like, in paper, my first big standard deck was based around one of his cards. I'm just like, why do you sound like a fuckboy?
I mean, fair. 2/2 for 4 with flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, tap that creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. That feels a bit powerful.
It is powerful, but on a 2/2, it's also very limited in its use.
Fair.
It's definitely something where you'd need to have a equipment or enchantment on it to give it a bigger butt.
No buts. Mirrorzel? Summon Illusion. Flying, if Mirrorzel is the target of any spell or ability, return Mirrorzel to its owner's hand. So, kind of bouncy hexproof?
Illusions are always very consistent in Magic, and they've been around for a while, in that they're kind of bad. Illusions always have some sort of ability when they're the target of a spell or ability. They'll either bounce, like this one, or they'll just be destroyed.
That seems unuseful, but, you know, it's true for D&D, so why not for Magic?
Of course.
Anyway, it's a cool skyfishy. It's several cool skyfishes. Mischievous Quanar? It's a 3/3 for 5. And you can turn it face down and then morph it.
Ooh. I like this card.
When it turns face up, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for that copy.
Definitely worth it, especially because you're going to put it down for 3, and then you turn it up for 3, and copy something, and, a 3/3 for 3 at that point with a copy target instant or sorcery is pretty efficient mana-wise, and the fact that you can just repeat that is good, especially considering that block. I think it's the first block that Morph was out in. Had a lot of payoffs for flipping over Morph creatures.
Okay.
I think there were also instants and sorceries and artifacts that could flip your creatures face down again. So using those as a more efficient way to flip them over would be, very good for getting a lot of use out of that ability.
Nice. Misfire Adapt. So 3/3 for 4. That's not awful. Again, prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target
Can't
creature
read the
gets flying.
text on this one. There we are. Oh, that's very nice.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's definitely much more legible.
Mistform Sea Swift. So we've got another illusion. Flying 3/1. Becomes type of creature of your choice until end of turn. So that could be handy.
I think Legion, again, that block also had like a tribal sub theme, but I don't remember. I do not have enough experience with Legion.
It is a big angry cloud dragon.
Indeed.
Aha. Ah, slivers. Mistform Sliver, 1/1 for 2. All slivers have this creature type. This creature's type becomes the creature type of your choice in addition to its other types. I mean, I imagine if there's this in other colours, it could get real wacky.
Yeah, but like in a sliver deck, what's even the point of having your creatures become something other than sliver?
I don't know. Maybe you could put it in a. I don't know.
Like you can't make your non-slivers into slivers, otherwise that would be useful. I don't know.
Mistform Warchief. It's a 1/3 for 3. Creature
Bye,
spells.
Tricky.
Hey, Tricky. Oh, bye. Thanks for coming. Mistform Warchief. Creature spells that you play that share a creature type with Mistform Warchief cost 1 less to play. So I guess you could make your slivers also illusions?
Yeah, or you can make this creature into a sliver with its tapped ability.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess that's a very good way to, I guess that's a really good use of that mist form ability to, make your mist forms into slivers to get sliver things. I didn't know that slivers were in this set, but cool.
I also really like the face on this one here. Hi! And now something slightly more terrifying. The Murmuring Phantasm.
I've got a few of those.
That's some beautiful artwork. More mouths. Too many mouths, too many... Wow!
Too many mouths.
That's too many cards. That's too many
mouths. You have a Dragon's Maze Fat Pack sitting right there, so that's probably where you got them.
Probably. I've got, yeah. Dragons of Tikir, Dragon's Maze. I've got, what's this one?
There's a lot of dragons there.
Or something. A Journey into Nyx and an Origins.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the fat packs I've had. I just like the boxes. They're really good.
They're so good. Yeah, I have too many boxes, and I am continuing to get more.
I want to
actually still need to get my... I need to get my... Oh, very nice. I still need to get my Theros Beyond Death box. Bundle, they call them now.
Fancy.
Oh, very nice. Gate Crash was my first fat pack, and it came out just before Dragon's Maze.
I can't remember which. Well, I couldn't tell you which of this lot is the oldest, but At some point, I was like, I will get fat packs, and then I was like, I've got too much fucking land.
Of the four that you told me about, Dragon's Maze is the oldest.
Yeah, I've got whatever this year was.
That's 2014. Core set 2014. That came out between Theros and Dragon's Maze, I think.
I'm guessing you mean original Theros.
And yes. Original Theros is also that block is what that other fat pack that you just held up is from.
Ah, well, I'm learning about my own cards.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of asked for this.
Yes, I literally asked for this. Opal Lake Gatekeepers.
I hope all of our viewers are enjoying my commentary.
I am.
Yay!
Opal Lake Gatekeepers. Enters the battlefield. If you control 2 or more gates. Oh, bloody gates. You may draw a card. 2/4. 4/4. I guess.
I think the other cards in that cycle were much better.
Well, hopefully we'll get to some of those. Phantom Warrior.
Actually, they weren't. Never mind. No, that cycle was just kind of bad. That one's the best of them, and they're just not well priced mana-wise.
Oh dear. Phantom Warrior. It's an illusion. Back to M14. And it's a 2/2 for 3. It can't be blocked. I mean, that's handy. Good early game. Get some of that early damage in.
Oh, I have Plasma Elemental. That's a good card.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Again, unblockable. It's a 1/4. It's expensive, but imagine
its
pumping
text
it.
is really good.
I watched a ship sail right through it. I thought it was harmless until I saw what it had done to the crew.
Yeah, no,
Menacing.
Plasma Elemental is really good, considering in Mirrodin you had all sorts of fun equipment you could just attach to it.
I'm just powering this fucker up. And charge!
Hey, Jane's Dungeon Kitty, I would like a Jace Mindwalker. Jane doesn't play blue.
I don't, but I don't know what that is, but is it good? I don't play blue. Although, like, having played a decent amount of Magic Arena recently, I have been feeling like maybe I should play more blue, because it seems like it is the most viable in every set. Which is a shame, because I really like black and white.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, because at the initial onset in, like, alpha and beta, they just kind of decided that blue would be, like, instants and card draw. It just so happens that card draw and counter magic are the two most powerful things in Magic in terms of just effects.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like, there are very few counter spells in colors other than blue, and that is a thing.
Yeah, it's a shame, because like Laura was saying, like you don't get this with a lot of like other collectible card games, like where it's just like one color it does all of this thing. So if you want that, you have to use this. Okay.
But that's like one of the things that makes Magic unique, though, in that it has 5 colors that all feel very distinct and flavorful.
Yeah.
It just kind of sucks that it makes the gameplay very kind of unbalanced in that way. And of course, Wizards has done really good job in, like, kind of balancing it out over the years in different sets. You know, sometimes they're better at it than others.
Well, maybe they will get round to it.
They've done it before successfully, and they'll do it again, you know. Right now, there are some really powerful mono-white and mono-black devotion decks in Standard.
I like mono-black.
Mm-hmm. It's also a really easy deck to build in Arena.
Yeah, I can see that. I've had some ideas, but like, I was looking at after the whole conversation we had recently about Esper control. I was like,
Mhm.
I want to know what this is, and I looked it up and I was like, wow, yeah, I would hate playing against that.
Yeah, no, it sucks. Luckily, you don't face too much of it in my experience on Arena,
hmm
thankfully, because
No
it's
one can
also
afford.
kind of difficult to play as, because it it is definitely a very, very difficult deck to pilot because you have to know exactly what to do with your counter magic and exactly how you
Mm.
want to, play certain cards.
Don't just counter everything.
Hmm.
Renowned Weaponsmith. You can tap it for 2 mana to spend on just artifacts or abilities of artifacts. So, I mean, I guess it has its place if you've got a lot of artifacts.
Hmm.
And whatever the Heart Piercer Bow or the Vial of Dragonfire.
They're both not great cards unless you can get like 4 or 5 of them in a limited deck.
Hmm. Sage Eye Avengers. Are you chewing ice?
Sorry.
No, I'm not complaining. It was merely a query.
I was, yes.
I recognise the sound of ice being chewed. It's very familiar.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we got Sage Eye Avengers. It's 4/5/6. More prowess. And when
I
it
also have
attacks,
that card. It's really good.
it looks pretty handy. Return target creature to its owner's hand if it is less than Sage Eye Avenger's power. Scornful Egotist. I love the artwork on this. It's like melted
Hmm.
Orko.
Is that? Oh, this must be the format you were talking about with
Yes.
like overly packed converted mana cost.
Yeah, I had to Google why this card was so fucking ridiculous for a 1/1 for 8.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I guess having that in your graveyard is worth it. I guess, if that's your thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Screeching Scab. When it's the battlefield, put the top 2 cards of your library in your graveyard. Self mill.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's been a thing in a lot of different zombie-based decks over the years.
I would have thought that zombies would be more appropriate to a black deck.
Uh, yes, but blue-black also has a lot of zombies in various sets.
That is a beautiful piece of artwork.
It is.
Sadly, it's not coming up super well on stream. Separatist Void Mage. It's 2/2 for 4. Enters the battlefield. You may return target creature to its owner's hand. Bouncy, bouncy. Shoreline Ranger. Again, pretty. Island cycling. Not something you see a lot of.
It happened. It was a thing.
It's a thing. We don't talk about it. It's not
I
invited
mean,
round for
just the same
Christmas.
way we don't talk about Island Walk or Swamp Walk anymore.
I'm pretty sure I've got some of that in here somewhere.
I'm sure you do.
Sigil Starfish.
Oh, that's a good card.
It's pretty. It's all light. Scry one, handy. Bit of a blocker. Nice way to get checking through your deck at the beginning.
Hoverguard.
Overguard, hi. I'm doing a floaty.
God. Affinity.
Affinity for artifacts. It costs less for each artifact you control, and it's flying.
Affinity has always been a very dangerous mechanic for Wizards of the Coast to play around with
Yeah.
because if they ever put it on the wrong thing, it will break a format.
Yeah, but
They
then they'll
had
just
to.
ban it.
Yeah, fair. Affinity's still a very legit I think legit legacy deck.
Okay.
It doesn't actually use any creatures with affinity, just a lot of things that um yeah.
Hmm. I don't recognise the symbol on this one.
That's from Kamigawa.
That was. Oh wow, I think I've only got like one pack from that.
I actually have a fair amount of cards from Kamigawa since uh I Oh, are you talking about Jace's Phantasm, Jane's Dungeon Kitty? That one's a fun card. It's a 1/1 with flying that gets +4/+4 if your opponent has like a certain number of cards in their graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, Kamigawa was a very weird block that people kind of hated.
Okay.
Um, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because it came just after Mirrodin, and nothing compares with what Mirrodin had.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a tough act to follow.
Kamigawa is essentially the Japan plane
Mm-hmm.
with lots of oni and spirits and just interesting they had a lot of snakes and a lot of really interesting stuff.
Stratus Dancer. I'm liking this card. It's very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
2/1 for 2. Megamorph, flying. When it's turn faced up, you can counter a spell. Handy.
And it's a 3/2.
Yeah.
It's a legit card. I'll tell you that much.
Seems pretty decent. Wow. 8th. 8th.
I have a lot of cards from 7th.
White border cards.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why no white border cards?
They tried it. There's a reason they didn't stick with it.
I mean, when I started, they were all white border cards.
Yes.
It's because I'm very old.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Saltai Skullkeeper. Enters the battlefield. The top 2 cards of your library in the graveyard. Well, sure. Get that self-mill. Get it.
Yes, Constellation.
Yes, it's making a big comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Did it ever leave?
Hmm?
Did it ever leave? I mean, I know it's sort of people are talking about it being back for Theros.
Constellation is not an evergreen ability, meaning it's only limited to certain sets.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time Constellation as a ability has been put onto new cards for the first time in like a decade.
Also,
a little less than a decade, about 7 years.
So it's 2014, yeah.
And of course, the ones dated 2014 were printed in 2013.
Ah, of course, yes. The unspeakable. Well, we're going to talk about
That's Kamigawa.
It's 7/6 for 9. 6/7 for 9 flying trample.
Okay. So Arcane was one of the most convoluted abilities when it was initially printed because no one understood how it worked.
Okay.
Well, not specifically Arcane, but there is a mechanic called Splice.
Okay.
And essentially, whenever you cast a Arcane card, that's an instant or sorcery with the subtype Arcane, you could pay a small amount of mana and reveal the Splice card from your hand, and essentially add its ability to the card you're playing. What no one knew was that it was a copy of the card. You still got to keep the original card in your hand. So there are a lot of really fun things you can do with some Splice cards these days. Especially because a lot of them say splice onto instant or arcane, or splice onto sorcery in arcane.
Yikes.
There's a really fun modern deck, a budget modern deck, that I actually am hoping to build someday called Twiddlestorm, based entirely around a Kamigawa card called Twiddle. I think it's the Kamigawa card, or one of the cards from Kamigawa, which is a splice onto instant, which allows you to just untap a permanent for a blue mana on top of whatever you're casting as a spell. And that doesn't sound like much until you have the most recent card from M20 called Lotus Field. It's a hexproof land that taps for 3 mana of any color.
Okay. That sounds fun.
So essentially you can just create an infinite loop of generating mana, paying one of that 3 mana to untap the land and then repeat ad infinitum until you can storm out.
Dangerous and infuriating, I imagine.
It is.
Oh, I'm spotting tap all creatures with toughness 2 or less. I'm thinking, there's a lot.
It is.
And also being able to clip people's wings.
Mm-hmm.
Fun Cloud Elemental. That looks fun. Tidal Courier. 1, 2 for 4. When it comes into play, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. All merfolk revealed this way into your hand at the rest of the bottom of your library. Handy if you're running a lot of merfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Train Condor, whenever it attacks another target creature you control, gains flying until end of turn. Handy.
That's always been a fun card. I don't know if you've ever seen this creature before, but I'm dropping it in the Skype. It's a pretty fun little doodad. Let's see. Here we are.
Ooh.
That's another one from Kamigawa.
The Sky Asunder, legendary creature, 5/5. Deals X. So for X plus green, plus tapping, deals X damage to target creature with flying. Fuck. So what's channel?
Essentially, it's a one-off little ability that you can use by discarding the card instead of playing it.
Okay. Handy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was one of my first rares that I ever got to essentially play around with when I started getting into Magic. Yeah.
Target instant or sorcery becomes the spell. Target instant or sorcery becomes the color of your choice. I'm sure there are uses for that, like
Protection.
circular protection.
Mm-hmm.
Warwing Siren. It's a 1/3. Heroic. Yes, I quite like heroic. That can be fun.
Heroic is pretty great. Are you familiar with the cards in the Theros Beyond Death with the pseudo-heroic?
Pseudo heroic? Maybe.
They're all called Hero, like Heroes of the Revel, Hero of the Nyxborn, etc.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple of those.
Yeah, they're all like ways to make a fixed version of Heroic, because Heroic was kind of broken when it was in Standard.
Okay. That's concerning. A 2/3 for 3, but you can just pump it until it, well, to a point, because it's +1/-1. So it has its advantage. I love the artwork. It kind of reminds me of the movie The Abyss.
Yeah.
More water
I have a
tentacle.
few cards like that. They're all just really good to attach a good like aura to make it have a bigger butt.
I'm liking this artwork. That is a cool head.
The Legion Wizards are pretty damn cool.
It feels sort of 1970s like action comics type laser.
Gordon's alive.
Not anymore, he's not. He wasn't too wizzy. Artificier's Epiphany. Draw 2 cards. If you control no artifacts, discard a card. Plus
So,
or minus
just
against.
a slightly worse divination. Wait, no, it's an instant. Cool. It's a good card.
We'll let that one live. Aerial Formation. Strive. Each target beyond the first. So, you can chuck it. Any number of target creatures get +1/+1 and gain fighting until end of turn. That seems pretty decent.
Yeah.
Spread that around.
Yeah. I forgot about Strive.
I'm guessing we've not seen that one for a while.
It was from Journey into Nyx or Destiny, the whichever one of the Theros blocks you have a fat pack for.
Don't recognise the symbol. It looks like a palm tree. Bizarre
That's from a
wonders.
very old. I think it's similar
That's
to Ice
96.
Age.
That's saying 96, so that's what, a 95 printing?
Yeah, I'll look up the set name. 1 second. Mirage. That's it.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is an old one.
I have a few Mirage cards, but it's pretty good.
Removal
No,
cards in
yeah.
all graveyards from the game, so exile basically.
hmm
Whenever a spell is played, counter if a card with the same name is in play in any graveyard. Huh.
So essentially, after you play that, you can only play any one copy of a card once.
That. Because that affects everyone, right?
Yes.
That sounds like it could be bad if you played it too
Well,
early.
if you're the one who plays it, you would essentially just run one copy of every card in your deck, essentially.
Okay.
And then you'd be able to play everything. And if your opponent's playing like four of every card in their deck, then they essentially only have like 10 or 15 cards in their deck that are usable.
That sounds like a pain in the ass. Condescend. I am again loving the artwork on this card.
No, yeah, that Condescend is a very good card.
Got a bit of scry action in there as well.
Night, Future Fishy.
Hi, Future Fishy. Thanks for coming. Ooh, back to 8th. Cowardice. Whenever a creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, return that creature to its owner's hand. Huh. That seems like it could be a thing to leave hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it would be actually that practical, or?
Uh, it depends, you know. It could be really good.
It could be. Disdainful Stroke. Counter target spell with CMC of 4 or greater.
Oh yeah, they reprinted that in Core Set 2019.
Nice.
Or no, in Guilds of Ravnica.
Huh.
It's not a bad card. It's really good in Esper Control.
Yeah. Counter
Yes.
target spell if its CMC is less than or equal to the highest converted mana cost among opponents you control. That seems very situational.
It's definitely a late game counterspell.
It feels like there's better ways of doing that for about the same
Oh,
price.
that's that's one of the payoffs for having the big CMC creatures.
Okay.
So in this one, you'd have like a CMC 8 creature on like turn 3, and then you have those, and you'll be able to counter anything you want.
Handy. That would greatly upset people.
Yes, it would.
Dispersed, non-land permanents.
We are looking at blue cards here, Jane.
Yeah, that is true. That's a lot of muscles. That's many muscle.
It is.
Enchanted artifact has at the beginning of your upkeep sacrifice this artifact unless you pay its mana cost.
Ugh.
Rude.
Indeed.
Some shiny M14 action. Enchant creature. You control enchanted creature at the beginning of your end step. If enchanted creature's power is 4 or greater, sacrifice domestication.
That's a really good card. Holy hell.
It certainly is a thing.
And control creature for 4 mana?
It's fine now.
I
Potentially
mean,
for a turn or a lot.
the only way, I mean, you'd obviously target a creature with power 3 or less, but the only way your opponent could do something about it would be if they had enchantment removal, or if they could, like, suddenly pump up their, that creature with, like, one of their own pump spells. And then at the end of the day, they are using, you know, some form of card in order to get their card back, which is, generally speaking, a pretty good exchange.
Oh, nice. Thanks for coming, Dungeon Kitty. Sleep well.
Efficient
Sweet dreams.
Construction is an amazing card.
Whenever you cast an artifact, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter. With flying. Okay.
There's an ability in Aether Revolt, that set, called Improvise, which allows you to tap artifacts in order to pay for spells.
Okay.
So
sounds
the
handy.
goal in a lot of decks in that set was to essentially just pump out as many Thopters and other servos and stuff to use them to pay for all of your big spells. Besides, 1/1 flyers for free are always going to be good.
Oh yeah. Encasing ice. Flash. Enchant red or green creature. In case an ice enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. It does not untap.
It's good enemy hate.
More pacification. Enhanced awareness. Draw 3 cards, then discard a card.
Always going to be a good effect.
Handy. Fascination. Each player draws X cards. I'll put the top X cards into their library. From the X cards from library into graveyard. That could be bad.
That's one of the Sultai based cards from the cons block. The Sultai had a huge focus on casting spells from their graveyard and reanimating spells from their graveyard.
And it's a shame the camera's not really picking up a lot of the detail on that, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Field of Reality. So back to the Kawagama. Enchanted creature can't be blocked by spirits. Return Field of Reality to its owner's hand. Well, handy if you need it back.
This was one of the things that kind of sucked about Mirrodin, and that made it kind of a weaker set, in that so many of its cards were so interconnected to other cards from the set. But of course, Standard doesn't just use cards from that set. So if your opponent has, say, an Artifacts deck from Mirrodin, and you have Field of Reality hoping to play against a Spirit-based deck in Kamigawa Standard, then you essentially have a dead card in your deck.
Less than handy.
Yeah, but that's what made it an interesting sideboard card, because if you were somehow playing against a Spirit deck, then it's a good card.
It's an interrupt.
Indeed.
Did we just stop calling them that?
Yes. Yes, we did.
So buyback again. There's a lot on this card that I've not seen for a while. Choose and discard 2 cards.
Yeah, buyback is essentially an extra cost you play when you cast a spell that puts it back into your hand rather than the graveyard after it resolves.
I mean, that doesn't sound like a cost. That sounds like a good thing.
I mean, you know, you have to have cards in your hand and you have to lose those cards, but then you can play another counterspell.
And more counterspells, right? Tap up to 2 creatures. They don't untap during the next untap step. Fuck you!
Yeah. No, if you do this immediately after your opponent's untap step, like after their upkeep and like before their draw phase, it's not great.
Less than ideal. Frozen Solid. Again, same thing. Ooh, that's pretty.
It's also good.
Glimpse the future. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them in your hand and the rest in the graveyard. I like the art.
It is so good.
Is that supposed to be going between different planes, or weird?
Don't ask these questions, Jane.
I don't know what you mean. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof. Handy.
So essentially, you're making it so your opponent can't do jack shit to that creature for the rest of the turn.
This will block everything now. Hands of Binding. That is an amazing piece of art.
Cypher is still one of my favorite mechanics. It's not the best, but I had a really good Cypher-based deck back in Gate Crash.
So, how Cypher?
So, how Cypher,
How Cypher?
you essentially, when you play the card that has Cypher,
Mhm.
you just put it on the back of one of your creatures. And then whenever you hit your opponent with said creature, if it's, say, an unblockable creature from the set, of which there were many, then you get to use the card that has Cypher on it again.
Okay.
And these had all sorts of various little effects, but some of them are really powerful. Like Hidden Strings, for instance.
Tap or untap target permanent, then you may tap or untap another target permanent. Handy.
Yeah. So say you had your Keymaster Rogue, and then you play like 3 or 4 cards with Cypher on it. You know. You get all those abilities each time you attack, which is good.
Hindering touch. Again, there's so many rules. Storm. Okay. That sounds like introducing a shit show is a good thing.
Oh yes, it is. It's a card, indeed.
I love the strange connectedness of this creature. Out of need! Are you feeling needy?
Don't ask me that question, Jane.
Exile any number of target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts a 4/4 blue Sphinx creature token with flying into the battlefield. That feels like chuck out your weenies and then replace them with blue things.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty damn good card.
Humorous!
Ah, yes.
All auras attached to it to its owner's hand, so that
It's
feels
a
like
slightly
less good.
worse bounce spell for your opponent's cards, a slightly better bounce spell for your own cards.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. If you want to
Because
get your own stuff back.
one of the good things about bounce spells in the Theros block is that you could use it to essentially destroy a bunch of your opponent's auras. Because when you bounce the creature, all the auras attached to it go into the graveyard. Of course, that's danger when you're trying to get your own creature out of the way of, say, a kill spell. Then you can react with that one to get like the 4 or 5 auras you've attached to it out of harm's way as well.
Yoink! Fuck you!
Plus, a lot of auras have really good enter the battlefield abilities.
Nice.
Hi, Connie.
Hi, Connie. How do? Hydro Slash. Hydro Lash, sorry. I was going with Pokemon. Target attacking creature minus. Attacking creatures. Apologies. -2/-0 until end of turn and draw a card. Thanks. Maybe. You never know.
It's pretty good.
Artifact doesn't untap. That could be a pain in the ass. Now, again, that is some pretty artwork. Affinity for artifacts, so we're back to affinity.
Back to Mirrodin.
Back to Mirrodin. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. The Jeskai again. +2/+2. Has flying, as long as you control a red or white. So, necessary for multicolour, huh?
Indeed. That was one of your things that you would essentially use to fuel prowess, as well as just to get the ability itself.
Yeah, cunning. More of this. Kiora's Dismissal? I thought that was an orangey beverage. Costs 1 extra blue to cast for each target beyond the first. Return any number of target enchantments to their owner's hands. Wow.
That's insanely cheap.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, if your opponent's playing all enchantment creatures or a bunch of enchantments in general, that's, like, even if all of them cost, like, 2 mana, you're still netting yourself, like, 3, 4, 5 mana advantage, and most enchantments cost way more than 2 mana.
Oh, yes. Mana leak. This I feel like this got reprinted a lot as well.
Mana Leak, I'm not sure if it got it reprinted as much. I know Spell Pierce, the one blue, it's just blue mana for counter target spell unless its controller pays 2, is a lot more common version of that card, and it's a better version of that card because as soon as you have like a 2 mana counter spell, it's just counter rather than counter unless opponent plays X.
Oh, okay, nice.
Hi, Chrono. It's
Hi,
good to see
Chrono.
you.
How are you doing?
What are you doing up this late? Ah, yes, Metamorphose.
Put target permanent and opponent controls on top of its owner's library. That opponent may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card from their hand into play.
You have a lot of Scourge era cards. That's what that symbol is.
I guess. I don't know why. That looks annoying.
Yeah. Again, when you have a 4 mana counterspell, it's better to just have no strings attached to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna counter a spell, but still, there are way better counterspells out there.
It's pretty. Look at the pretty.
It had Flash before Flash was a thing. It is also very pretty.
I love whatever is going on there. More of this. Negate.
Ooh, I can't wait to see that pick, Chrono. That sounds fun.
Oh heck, that sounds interesting.
Yes, Negate is a classic card.
Target non-creature spell. Ujitai? Ujitai's breath. Tap target creature, it doesn't untap. Nice. And rebound. If you cast a spell from your hand, exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying for it.
Yeah, so just 2 prowess triggers from 1 card.
And can you keep bouncing that?
No, as soon
Just
as you play it from exile without paying its mana cost, it goes to the graveyard. See, one of the clauses from it says play from your hand.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And summons. I'm not going to try saying that again. Put a blue Djinn monk creature token with flying onto the battlefield and rebound again. It was popular at this point. Parallel Thoughts. What year was this? 2003.
Oh god.
Parallel Thoughts comes into play. Search your library for 7 cards. Remove them from the game in face down pile. Shuffle that pile, then shuffle your library. And then just draw from them as you want.
You know, that is such a happy ghost. I'm so happy for him.
I have all the things whenever I want them.
That looks like a pretty good card. I've never seen it before.
I mean, it feels OP as fuck, potentially, if you know what you're doing and you have a good rest of your deck.
I mean, yeah.
Would you like that in Commander?
Maybe.
Just like grab all of the shit you want. Get enough draw. Peer through the depths.
Oh, that was reprinted recently.
Yeah.
I think so. I gotta check. Again, that's an arcane spell.
It is. Okay. Zip zap. Pemin's Aura. Not an aura.
Yeah, that was from before auras were a thing.
I was just being silly.
Oh, it was reprinted in Modern Masters.
Oh, that'll
I
just...
think I must have seen it in a deck list because I'm not familiar with, I'm not necessarily familiar with Modern Masters as a set.
Untap enchanted creature. This just sounds like it gets real dangerous real fucking quick.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with the card Aetherling from Dragon's Maze, but it essentially has that's exactly what Aetherling's based off of, actually. It's just a creature that is like
it's built in
4/4 and all of those abilities. Literally those 4 abilities.
Nice. Return target instant card. and up to one target sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand, and then exile this. But still, that could be real fucking handy.
Yeah. I think that one's from one of the Shadows over Innistrad sets, but I can't remember for sure.
Is that Leonine? It looks more tigery than liony.
Mm-hmm. It's Sultry Sultai again.
Can't target spell unless the controller plays one for each card in your graveyard. That could get expensive. Or be real fucking cheap.
Especially if you're playing Sultai.
Refocus. I like the idea of this.
Hmm? That text is
Reality
fun.
shift. Before you can open your third eye, you must prove that you can open the first two. I mean, yeah. Exile target creature, its controller manifests the top card of their library. Okay.
Hi, Chrono. It's good to see you.
How you doing?
Chrono's already here. He just said hi to me.
Scrit.
Indeed, indeed.
Enchanted creature has a base power toughness of 0-2.
That's always been a less effective aura than it would otherwise seem, especially at that price.
It's pretty. It's so pretty and rainbowy.
Mm-hmm.
2 blue bird enchantment creature tokens. Blue flying and scry one.
This is definitely a card that you would play in a Constellation deck.
Oh,
Not
fuck yeah.
anywhere else, though. Because, you know, 2/2/2s that trigger Constellation, and then Scry 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad, but for 6 mana, also not the most efficient. That's what it is. Sultai is all about Delve.
Delve!
Yeah. Also known as an insanely busted mechanic in Modern.
I mean, it feels a bit like Escape.
Yes, not really though. It's more like Dredge.
Yeah.
It combines with Dredge.
Yeah.
And Dredge is a mechanic from the original Ravnica block for the Golgari.
Ah, Golgari. That is a nice colour scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Runner's Bane! Isn't that just Jogger's nipple?
With... right.
When it's a battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap. Well, fuck. Runner's Bane. More Jogger's nipple. Rush of Knowledge!
That's a fun card.
Ah! I've done too much acid! Draw cards equal to the highest converted mana cost among opponents you control.
That's another one where you can, you know, just draw 8 on turn 5, you know. Yeah. What are you going to do with those cards? I don't know, but still.
You're going to have to hope you've got a lot of mana to pay for it. Send to sleep. La la la.
Can you send me to sleep, Jane?
Go to fucking sleep. Subbed. Off to bed now. Tap 2 target creatures. Send to sleep. Oh, hello. I like it.
Oh, I wish.
That's a lot.
I wish I could have some good sensory deprivation right about now.
I had to do some research into sensory deprivation for a former subby. They were like, I want to be in sensory deprivation for a really long time. I was like, it feels like something that could go horribly, horribly wrong. Let me Google that. And I found this really interesting thing about how it literally breaks people's brains.
Yeah.
Like permanently, if you do it for too long.
Yes.
It's like, that's
it also causes some pretty interesting hallucinations, I hear.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of...
Can we talk about that last card very quickly? So, that's a really, really good card.
Okay.
Because Delve, you're going to be paying for it much cheaper, but putting a card on top of its owner's library is a really effective way to remove a spell from the board. Because not only are you getting rid of getting rid of that card for a turn, you're also getting rid of your opponent's next draw, which is something that a lot of people don't realize the effectiveness of. Sorry, just wanted to bring that
I
up.
have to let Cremmy say the word bondage in chat.
Oh no. Yay, bondage card.
Bondage card! Share discovery, additional cost. Tap 4 untapped creatures you control to draw 3 cards.
Definitely worth it if you got the creatures.
Sift through sands. Again, nice and pretty.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was a really weird set of cards.
Yeah, that feels like a weird chain. Oh, and the unspeakable. We
Oh, the
saw them earlier.
unspeakable. And we also had Peer Through Depths earlier as well.
So I've got the full set.
Do you have Reach Through Mists? I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, maybe not. Damn it.
No, I only have, like, one of them, I think. I also don't have the Unspeakable. But the Unspeakable is definitely a worthwhile card to cheat out early. Especially because its converted mana cost is 9.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that would go well with the whole thing about countering spells based on CMC.
It would, but that's a different set.
I mean, we're just playing with something made out of one of these.
Oh, of course, of course, of course.
I
I like talking about interset combinations and whatnot when just bringing up the history of cards.
Sky Games. Enchanted Land. Enchanted Land has target creature
Also from Gate Crash.
gains flying until end of turn. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So your turn only, I guess.
The Sorcerer Clause kind of sucks, but that is otherwise a really, really fun little card.
Mm-hmm. Spell Blast. Okay, well... Expensive, but worth it.
Mm-hmm. It's good for countering opponents' counters.
Now this is one I don't see often. Counter target activated ability.
Yeah, yeah. It's... Kamigawa had a lot of them, so it makes sense that they would print a counter for that there, but it only ever comes up in very rare occasions, but it's always pretty useful when it does.
Also, Squelch.
Like a sideboard card. It is a fun little name.
Squelch. Stratus Walk. Draw a card. Enchanted creature has flying. Enchanted creature can block only creatures with flying. I mean, that's not so bad.
I mean, you could do it on one of your opponent's creatures.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on top of your library in any order. Handy. Nice art. I like the green.
Yeah.
+2/+0 until end of turn. And rebound.
That's not a bad card. You could definitely use that to get in for like 4 or 5 damage per turn on 2 different turns.
Big shiny fist.
I can guarantee she does, Crimmy.
I mean, yeah. Squelchy. Get deep down and nice and squelchy.
Meow.
Yeah. Tap on tap. Nice. Again, we're getting more of these counter very specifically.
Yeah, that one's a bit broader, but again, for 3 mana, you should be able to counter any spell.
And surely with, like, commanders, if you needed, like, a lot of different counterspell ones, it could fill a gap. Don't recognise the symbol? It's 95, I guess? 90. Well, it says 96 on it.
I have a lot of cards from that block, but the set itself is escaping me. It's a very bad set, but whatever. From what I remember. That set is called Alliances. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it introduced a couple really awful mechanics like cumulative upkeep.
Oh god, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
that
on
was a
this
whole
card,
thing. That was
yep,
a
it is.
whole thing.
It was a whole thing, and then they never did it again for good reason.
I've got like a really, or I had a really nasty black card that's got cumulative upkeep, and it seems
Mm.
really powerful at first, but it just really fucks you over real quick.
Yep.
Zainab! I like the art. I've seen this. This has
Ooh.
been reprinted a few times, right?
It has been, yes. I think that is one of the more recent printings, actually. I think I have an older one, but I could be wrong.
Totally lost now. I've seen this
Mm-hmm.
person a lot recently.
They're
What
both there.
what is
Some of
with
them are
this? What is with this creature? Because I see
just
them as an avatar on a light arena.
He was reprinted in War of the Spark.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one of the Tempest time ebbs, which of course is from like the 90s,
Oh
97.
yeah. Oh, Tempest. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't buy this avatar, but I see people with it.
I think it was like bundle based or something if you
Ah,
pre-ordered like the War of the Spark thing.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't I don't I don't
Don't
care
get into
about
all the pimping.
literally any of the cosmetics on MTGA. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably why I'm able to play for free so much
I
because the cosmetics are all extremely overpriced.
I don't understand the interest in like just changing card backs and sleeves. Like, surely just having one of those two would be fine, right?
Ha ha ha, Marble Lion. This is definitely an ASMR stream. That's why I'm on, you know. My my voice can put anyone to sleep or whatever ASMR is supposed to do.
Uncover clues! Look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal 2 instant and or sorcery cards from among them, and put the revealed cards in your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order.
Yeah, that
Scry.
was really good for Azurius and Izzet decks.
Is it?
Back in that block. Izzet is blue-red, Azorius is blue-white.
Is it? Being silly.
Ha 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 ha.
Void Squall. I guess that's where he's like
Mm-hmm.
hallucinating at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And Renault is falling into space. There's some space behind.
Mm-hmm.
Way of the Thief. Enchanted creature has +2/+2. It's unblockable for as long as you control a gate. Fuck gates. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
like them.
I mean, they were kind of interestingly used back in the Return to Ravnica, but in Ravnica and Guilds of Ravnica
Mm-hmm.
onwards, yeah, they kind of became a bit too overpowered and pushed.
We Fate.
Uh,
Looks
just
expensive.
slightly worse divination.
Pretty burb though. Pretty burb.
At an instant speed, it's not bad, especially if you're getting a bunch of prowess triggers, but whatever. Now
Whisk
that,
away.
now Whisk Away is a good removal spell.
Mm-hmm. Bye. Will of the Naga. Liking those eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Good snake friend.
Mm-hmm.
Tap 2 creatures. They don't untap during the next. It feels expensive, but the delve there will help with that, I guess.
Yeah, essentially read Delve spells as just 2 mana and exile 4 cards from your graveyard, because that's what they were.
That's what Kamangla
Delve is an
does.
extremely powerful card. There's a card called Treasure Cruise, which is, I believe, 7 in blue for draw 3 cards, but it also has Delve.
Nice.
It's, am I remembering that right? I might not be, but it's a very good card that makes its way into a lot of modern decks.
Mm-hmm. Right into being. Zephyr Charge. Nice basic
Ah,
one.
I'm completely right. Huzzah.
Yay! Well, I mean, I wasn't shocked. That is all of the blue cards that aren't in a deck.
I feel proud of myself. I had something to say for like what 60, 70, 80% of the cards.
I mean, sometimes you just can't really say a thing because there isn't really a thing to say.
Oh, that converted mana cost ratio for a 2/4 creature is all out of whack. That's about it for some of them.
Sometimes that's all you need to say. Bit of Meridian.
Good.
I don't know what deck is this. Little Bashers.
That's... Oh god.
Mono
Oh, I
white.
have a few Loxodon Warhammers. They're pretty good cards.
I've never found any of the pre-built decks to be particularly good.
Yeah. Especially recently, they've just been getting kind of bad. Back around the original Theros and the Return to Ravnica block, they were actually pretty okay. And they had pretty good guides for how to essentially make them better with cards from the set or recent sets. But yeah, nowadays they're all Planeswalker decks and just not worth it at all.
All of the Planeswalkers. Well, thank you for going through blue. I will send you this.
What?
I will send you this.
Oh, Jane. Thank you.
It's all right.
I'm not gonna say no.
Send me deets
I
separately, and I
give
will.
you my deets.
I will send you that.
My address is
Offline. I will make sure that that is properly secured for sending because I got some of those hard plastic slipcases today, so
okay. Wonderful.
it should last through the post.
I hope so. I mean, Crimea was able to send me some cards all the way from Canada, and they got here okay.
The land of Canada.
Indeed.
Canada.
Well, this has been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it.
It's been fun. Thank you very much for coming along.
Anytime.
There's more boxes.
Ooh.
We've got through one colour. We haven't been through decks because they're built decks. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to do. So if you fancy coming back sometime, we could perhaps do some more of this.
You can have me whenever you want me.
Oh my. I say. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to chat. Thank you to Creamy and Donnie and Chrono and Marble Lion. Hey Becky, you're pretty too. Future Fishy and Dungeon Kitty, who I believe has gone to bed now. And Creamy again. Creamy and Tricky. Hi Tricky. Some of these people. Keladry is in chat. Hi Kel.
Am I?
And Nag, oh, you subscribed. Thank you very much for the subscription. I super appreciate it. And Basin. I think that's everyone. I think I've mentioned everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. See you again sometime. Oh, bye!